Hey y'all. So Hartley is sick today, so I am home. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm just going to go through the slides for today with you guys and give you a chance to work on stuff. I'm going to ask, I think Mr. Adams is with you, so I'm going to ask him to pause some things and give you guys some time to work and then move on. So we are starting Unit 2 today. Yesterday we looked at those images from Afghanistan, and I'm going to give you a little bit of time to talk about that today, and then move on into to Unit 2. Okay, so the slides are posted for yesterday, so that's where you'll find all the information, and y'all are probably going to get to meet Henry and Fluffy because they are all in my personal space right now. So, we have our long-term goals, which we talked about yesterday. And you finished, if you weren't here yesterday, we finished that end of unit quick write that is posted in Google Classroom for Friday. So please make sure you get that done by tomorrow. I'm going to start grading them tomorrow. So please make sure you have those done. So yesterday we looked at these images. There are more images. There are more things. President Biden spoke yesterday. Some other folks spoke as well. So you can probably find some information about that. If you are interested in learning more today, then you can do that. Remember, there was this USA Today article with the timeline. So last core, we didn't get to this. So I want you to take about 5 or 10 minutes to just review one of the articles here. So Mr. Adams, for fourth core only, if you can pause it here and let them choose one of the headlines to read about what's going on in Afghanistan before they have the conversation that I'm going to ask them to have, which is, I don't know where I put that slide. What did I do with it? It just disappeared. Oh, here it is, which is over here. Let's just move it back up here so we can look at it. Right, which is to have a discussion, making comparisons between Ha's life, the things that we've read. Specifically, you can look at that poem, Saigon is Gone, at the end of part 1, okay? And think about how is Ha's life similar to what we're seeing going on in Afghanistan right now. Now, we are about to read an article either tomorrow or the next day, I can't remember which day it is, that is called Panic Rises in Saigon. So let's think about this idea of the panic, the desperation. Many of you talked about in your quick writes last week, desperation, courage, and bravery, things like that. Look at that idea and think about how is this similar to what Ha was seeing in her life as she was fleeing Saigon. Okay, so Mr. Adams, if you can pause it for about 10 minutes and let them talk about it. If they seem to be not having a long conversation, then you can cut that short. That'll be fine. All right, so lesson 1 today. We're going to look at things close readers do. We're going to review our learning targets and introduce the concept of a dynamic character. Hopefully you've heard of a dynamic character before, but we're going to introduce that concept in looking at Ha today. All right, and then during our work time, we're going to have this new thing called a structured notes graphic organizer, which is posted in Google Classroom for you as an assignment. And the due date says like September the 3rd or something, far out, because we're going to use it for the whole rest of this unit. So you need to make sure that you're keeping up with that document as we read daily. Okay, so we're going to take a look at that document. And then your homework, look, this says 83 through 90. You've already read those pages, so you're just going to work on something else for that. It's at the end. I'll show you. All right, so our lesson vocabulary today, we're going to be looking at key details. So key details, not just details, but key details. Remember that we said we were going to move toward finding the strongest possible evidence, not just evidence. So key details are the important ones. So we're going to look at the important details, not just any detail we can find. Aspects. Aspects means a part of. So we talk about aspects of a character or things that reveal aspects of a character. So we're going to have to look at that. Symbols and symbolizing. We know that because we've already talked about Ha and the papaya tree, and we're going to continue to look at this symbol of hope and this papaya tree and the things they brought with them and the things they left behind. And then a dynamic character. So a dynamic character is simply a character who changes throughout the story. So we are going to start seeing Ha as a dynamic character. So before we can think about how Ha changes, we have to know who Ha is. So if you remember in first unit, we spent a lot of time focused on who is Ha, right? What kind of characteristics does she have? And we have things like sneaky, independent, rebellious. Lots of people said stingy or greedy, jealous of her brothers, all of those things. So now we're going to look at, as she moves into her journey as a refugee, how does she change as a character? And that's what we want to be really aware of in this second part of this study, this module. Okay, so there is a guiding handout, workbooks pages 42 to 44, and I have it here so we can look at it. All right, and I want you to take about 5 to 7 minutes and read this whole handout, and you're going to look at ways that I can read closely. Okay, so this is a next step up from the first ideas that we had about reading closely. So I want you to take about 5 to 7 minutes, read through this handout. It's several pages, 3 pages, I think. Read through it, annotate, take notes, and then at the end of that time, have a 1 to 2 minute conversation with your group. Okay, so this is another time where we'll pause it, have time to do some work, and then come back. Okay, and then we are going to look at this structured notes graphic organizer. Okay, you guys have already read pages 73 through 90, so a good chunk of part 2. And what you're going to do is look at this graphic organizer that's posted in Google Classroom today, and you're going to find this idea. These are the 2 questions that we're looking for. What challenges does Ha face when fleeing home? And how do the challenges reveal her dynamic character? So this chart is in backwards order, but this is how they made it. So this is what we do. Okay, so we're going to say, what challenges does Ha face when she's fleeing home? I'm going to find a key detail that shows a challenge she faces. I'm going to put the quotation here, the page number here, and then I'm going to answer this question. How do the challenges reveal her dynamic character? And then I'm going to keep in mind, are there any specific instances of vocabulary I don't understand? Or is there an awesome place with word choice? Does Ha choose some really cool words or some really meaningful words so that we can still think about that idea of how does word choice convey tone and central idea? Okay, that's going to be your big chunk of work time today. Okay, so make sure you've read pages 73 through 90. If you haven't yet, you need to read those poems silently. And then you need to complete the structured notes for this section. When you finish with the structured notes of this section, then you can do a think, pair, share and look at your your table partners and see what they have written as in their charts and what you have written in your charts, and think about Ha's character. What's a key detail that helps you understand her? Make sure that everybody at the table has all the same pieces of evidence, okay? But I want you to work silently first, probably for 15, 20 minutes, and then do a think, pair, share at the end, okay? And then for homework tonight, nothing. There's no homework tonight because you guys have already read the section that it tells you to read, okay? So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Y'all be nice to Mr. Adams. Do what he says. Be good today, and I'll see y'all tomorrow, okay?